Hey, good morning, everybody. This is Thomas Dimitrovich, and we finished day one on Code Making Panel 2, day one of NEC 2026 code changes. We got through it, and look, we survived. So, what I want to do is just cover some things that happened today or yesterday. It's 4:22 a.m. California time, and I wanted to let you know. So today, not at 12 o'clock on IAEI News Live. It's not at 12 o'clock that we are going to go live. It's going to be 3 o'clock p.m. Eastern, and the reason is because we are here in California, and I want to go live. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to go live from here. So that'll be lunchtime here, and they give us. I think we went to lunch yesterday. I keep saying today. We went to lunch yesterday at I think around 11:30, 4, something like that, and they gave us till 1. So I'll be able to go live at 12 o'clock from probably the lobby area outside of where we're at. So I'm going to pull up some of what we got done. So I'll tell you what we did on panel 2. We got through almost. I thought I was going to get through task group 1. We got through task group 1, all except for 3 public comments. And the discussion is around appliances, 210.8d. And I have to log in. Oop. All right. So first off, let's talk about the definitions. We added some definitions. I don't know if I could do this. Forget it. I got up. It's early here, so I got up and I wanted to go live just to give everybody an update. So I'm just going to walk through. I'll give you a summary of what we did. So we made some changes to, I believe it was branch circuit. In fact, I think there's going to be a problem with, there's a defined term that one of the other panels made. We made a change to the branch circuit, the definition for branch circuit. And all we did there was to recognize that, excuse me, the change we made in the definition of a branch circuit has to do with the new definition of an overcurrent protective device, OCPD. So in the branch circuit, it says the circuit conductors, this is what it used to say, the circuit conductors between the final overcurrent device protecting the circuit and the outlets. So all we did was add the word protective and put in parens OCPD. So that's all we did. That just recognizes the new defined term, overcurrent protective device. So it was an easy, easy. It was like, I think, the first public comment, and it was a second revision, and it felt good. It did. It felt good to get started with something positive. Neutral doesn't change the requirement, but adds clarity. I love to add clarity in the code because clarity is where it's at, in my opinion. So the other changes we made in definitions lie in ground fault circuit interrupters. We ought to write a book on ground fault circuit interrupters. So here's what we did. For the definition of a GFCI, we didn't change anything in the body. We didn't change anything in the informational note. All we did was add in parens Class A GFCI. Now, that doesn't necessarily mean that they use those exact words in the code, but what it does do is it sets us up for the future, because we now have in the code 4 defined terms. We have Class A GFCI, which we all know is just GFCI. We have actually 5 defined terms, but we have Class A GFCI. We have, they moved it down to special purpose, I think. We have the Class C GFCI, the Class D, as in David, GFCI, and, oh no, they didn't know the definitions yet. I think it's because they have to figure out how to do it. Class C, we have Class A, Class C, D, and E. So the Class C, D, and E are the special purpose GFCIs. So we have a Class CSP GFCI, Class DSP GFCI, Class ESP GFCI. So those 3 new GFCI devices are added, which they have not put in here yet. And we have one, I'll call it the overarching definition for a special purpose GFCI, which basically just says a special purpose GFCI can be a Class C, D, or E. So those are the changes we made. And so now we have we'll have a definition for each of those types. So what we didn't do, so this was the discussion around why we did not change. So we had a discussion around making the GFCI defined term be a Class A GFCI. And we didn't do that. And the reason was because if we change the defined term to a Class A GFCI and not permit and not have just GFCI, we'd have to go through everywhere in the National Electrical Code and fix and address the new term. That's not something we're doing in the second draft. So what we did was we did not change GFCI. We left that the same. Anytime you see in the code the acronym GFCI, or when it just says GFCI, it is a Class A device, period. I think where we're going to go in the future is having a discussion around when you have a GFCI requirement, you call out the specific GFCI that you are permitting, whether it be a Class A, a Class C, D, or E. And if it's all 4, then you'll say a Class A, or maybe you say Class A or a special purpose GFCI, period. Because the definition of a special purpose GFCI tells you it can be any one of those 3, C, D, or E. But if you have an application where only the Class C will work, then you specifically call out the Class C GFCI. Make sense? So, those were good discussions, good debates. Trying to think of what I learned during that discussion. That was new for me. There was something I learned new, and I can't remember. I can't remember what it was. I have a Philo memory, first in, last out. So I think I learned a couple more things since, and I forgot what I learned on the GFCI discussion. But I know there was something in there. Anyway, So I think those were the only changes inside of. Now, as I'm scrolling down through here, I did see another panel is meeting. Panel 1 is meeting at the same time. Looks like they changed readily accessible, and they took out the words requiring those to whom ready access is requested to, it says capable of being reached quickly for operation, renewal, or inspection without those requiring ready access to take actions. Just didn't change much, just added clarity. So that's a nothing burger. I love that word, nothing burger. Got that from Tim McClintock. Give credit where credit is due. So they added a new definition for cable, limited energy cable. A factory assembly of one or more conductors or optical fibers used for any of the following: Class 2, 3, 4 optical fiber systems, communication circuits, community antenna, CATV, premises communication. So, whoa, looks like they're doing some stuff over there on CMP3. So they added a new defined term for that. We'll see if that survives. Looks like they're removing cable tie integral device. I don't know what the reason is for that. I'm not gonna hazard a guess. So looks like there's some interesting changes going on as we speak. I wish I was in the room for some of these. They changed enclosure. They added portable equipment as applied to hazardous classified locations. That's interesting. I don't know if panel 14 is meeting. Anyway, fixed as applied to equipment that is fastened or otherwise secured at a specific location. So all they did was, I think, just add, they moved it from panel 17 to panel 1. Interesting. Why would they move it to panel 1? That's the responsibility. So they moved the responsibility for the definition of fixed, probably because it's such a generic term for all equipment. That makes sense. See what else we got going on here. Excuse me. Got a runny nose. That was good on video, huh? All right. There's our special purpose. There's our GFCI stuff. They still haven't added those defined terms. Limited energy systems. They modified that definition. See what else they did. Outlet. They modified outlet. This is interesting. So now an outlet says a point on the wiring system where the branch circuit conductors are connected to utilization equipment. That's a problem. That's a problem. That is not good. There's going to be more on that one. That's probably Knitman material right there. PV module. They made some slight changes in there and qualified person. Ooh, Robert from Omaha. They made some changes to qualified person, buddy. You're going to have to stay tuned for that one. All right, so let's get back to panel 2. So the other thing that we did on panel 2 is we moved through 210. Let's take a look at Article 210. Man, what time is it? I got time. I have a call at 8 o'clock Eastern, 5 o'clock California time. Okay, so here's what we did. We modified the scope, the informational note in the scope, because Article 265. So remember what happened. In the branch circuit, medium voltage branch circuit requirements, what it used to be in was Article 235. Remember, 235 was created and it had Part 1 was general, Part 2 was branch circuits, Part 3 was feeders, Part 4 was services. And that was all of that over 1,000 volts AC, 1,500 volts DC. So what the medium voltage task group did was separated each of those into their own articles. And Article 265 is the article for branch circuits over 1,000 volts AC, 1,500 volts DC. So we had to fix the informational note that used to say, see Article 265, but it said before 265, it said 235, Part 2, for requirements for branch circuits over 1,000 volts AC, 1,500 volts DC. But now all of Article 265 applies to branch circuits over 1,000 volts AC, 1,500 volts DC. So we just removed the reference to Part 2. Nothing burger, but very important if you're a code geek. So 210.3, reconditioned equipment. So here is, I'll tell you what, and I wrote a note. I wrote a note on this one. Bill Fisk put a public comment in. Public comment 649. You all can look it up. Go out to NFPA, search for PC 469, and I never liked when they moved things to say shall not be installed. The problem I had with that language is it was problematic. And in a lot of different ways, and it was hard to articulate. But what I liked was Bill Fisk's public comment in his statement, in his substantiation. He said, I've got to figure out a way to get all of this on the screen so I can see it. Here it is. At one time. Gosh, nice. So Bill says the term to be installed is always redundant. 90.2c says this code covers the installation and removal of electrical conductors, equipment, and raceways. So it's installation and removal. Every requirement of the NEC is about installation or removal, and requirements about removal are a very small minority. Shall be permitted and shall not be permitted as applied to equipment means that the subject equipment either is or is not allowed to be installed. The new first draft restrictions on reconditioned equipment seem to have overlooked the scope and purpose of the NEC, adding the superfluous term to be installed as also does not conform to 3.11, 3.12, and 3.5.1.1 of the NEC style manual. I agree with a lot of what he put in there. My challenge is, I think that the challenge I think we have as an industry, when you have equipment that is, in place, let's say, for example, you have a switchboard and you're permitted to recondition a switchboard. And you recondition it in place. You can't do that anymore because it says you're allowed to install a reconditioned switchboard. It says you're allowed to install a reconditioned switchboard, but it doesn't say you can recondition an existing switchboard. Let's say multi-case circuit breaker in 240. If I have an existing circuit breaker and a handle breaks and I use super glue to fix it, and now I'm going to make that a part of a branch circuit, and I'm going to land a new branch circuit conductor on that overcurrent device, I can't reject it if it says you shall not install reconditioned circuit breakers because the circuit breaker is already installed. So I have to permit it. I don't have a reason to not permit it. So it makes it challenging in some cases. So in any case, we said shall not be permitted, and that's in alignment with the style manual. No, it's in alignment with sections 311, 312, and it's in alignment with 90.2c. That language is much better. Better. All right, but in any case, that's what panel 2 did. And I have a personal opinion on that one. 210.4. All we did was add the words multi-wire branch circuit in cases like, for example, we say a multi-wire circuit. We just added branch. So we say a multi-wire branch circuit because that's the title of 210.4. So we just added some clarity, and we got rid of the branch circuit overcurrent protective device and just called it the overcurrent protective device, OCPD. We changed, we removed that branch circuit in 210.4a. There's a sentence in there, and also in exception number 2 to C. And then the other change that we added the words multi-wire branch in 2 locations as well in A. So piece of cake. 210.8. All right, so here's what we did. I know everybody loves to talk 210.8. And I know everybody loves to protect people from electrical shock. So here's what we did. Remember, we had a listed Class A or Class A HF GFCI. So what the discussion was that the HF is not an entirely new device. There's not a new standard for it. It's still a Class A device. It's just the algorithm has changed a bit. So we can't say a Class A or Class A HF GFCI, just like we don't say a molded case circuit breaker or a switch duty circuit breaker or an HID circuit breaker. We just say it's a circuit breaker with an HID marking or an SWD marking. We don't, like a tamper resistant, it's still a receptacle. It's just happened to be a TR, tamper resistant receptacle. And I could go on, there's various other examples. So what we're doing with this is we're still saying, hey, look, this is still a Class A GFCI. It just has an HF marking on it. So we left the language in the parent text of 210.8, a listed Class A GFCI, period, shall provide protection. And then we added an informational note to reference UL 943, which is the standard for ground fault circuit interrupters, for further information regarding GFCIs marked HF or HF plus. And it says that Class A GFCIs marked HF or HF plus are evaluated for use with loads having high frequency leakage currents from power conversion components such as variable speed drives and inverters. So I'm okay with the language that was added, but that's the only changes in the parent text. First level subdivision A, the only changes that we're looking at that hopefully, if they survive, I don't have any problems with any of these. One of them was mine. And I had there were 4 or 5 other people who we all made the same public comment. In 210.8A3, it looks like they're wanting to get rid of the word accessory and not say accessory buildings, say areas of accessory buildings. So a little minor tweak to 3. And then in 13, we added the word location. So indoor damp locations. All right. Got 15 minutes before my next meeting. 210.8B, the only changes we're seeing there are in 14. So we just rearranged some words around aquarium. So looks like 210.8B is coming through unscathed or scathed just a little tiny bit. Not big deal. D, we have a task group that is going to look at D. I'll tell you what the discussion is. The panel has, over the last 3 cycles, I think it's been 3 cycles that this debate has been going on. I know it was the 17 code, the 20 code, the 23 code, and now the 2026 code. So this will be the 4th cycle this debate has been raging. You have 422.5, which has GFCI requirements, but the 422 guys are putting the options on the table. You can put GFCI in the receptacle, you can put GFCI in the breaker, you can put GFCI in the cord, or you put GFCI in the appliance. Panel 2 wants to keep it either in the receptacle or at the outlet, in a device or a breaker. And 210.8, and so what they did, what I think they're going to do today, we're going to see what happens today, is write language in 210.8D that basically says, look, I don't know if this, I don't necessarily like this. I'm not a fan of it. But here's my my words of wisdom to you. when you are at the table negotiating and talking about this, hey, Nihad, good morning. When you're at the table, and I'm just talking about the 210.8D that's going to happen. Boom. There you are. Good morning, Tom. Almost missed your live again. Thank you, sir. And you're probably in your room watching. So here's my advice. Whenever you have, and you're arguing and debating and writing things like code, if both parties walk away from the table and they're both upset, you probably did and created some good code. We're not going to please everybody all the time. I'm not going to walk away from the table. If we approve this language, which I'll probably support, if we approve it, I'm not going to be a happy boy. I like the fact that panel 2 is working to keep the requirement in the branch circuit. And what they're going to do is probably point to 422 to say those guys have the list of appliances that create this shock hazard, possibly. And 210.8 has the requirement that the GFCI has to be located for new construction and adding new, etc. Has to be located in the branch circuit somewhere, whether it be a wiring device or a circuit breaker. So Nihad, you got up 30 minutes ago. Here, let me do this. I'm gonna move. I'm on me. I can select that, and I don't know why I can't. I can move that around. Oh, I know why. It's locked. There we go. I'm gonna move my name up top so people know who the heck I am. And there we go. Yes, I am up 30 minutes ago. Gotta love it. So, and I've got a call at 5 o'clock a.m. California time. So that's the debate that's going to go on today. First, I think, and DJ chaired that group, and we had 21. It was just funny. What was really funny was we were sitting there in the meeting, and we're all arguing, we're all upset, and you know, I'm like, you know, fidgeting in my seat, and I'm not liking where this is going. And, oh well, the motion that was on the table failed to do what the task group wanted to do, and they said, okay, now what? And so I asked the chair for a task group, and he says, all right. So they put together a task group, and he asked DJ to chair it because DJ chaired the original task group. They tried to come up with language that went into 422, and they made a proposal to 210.8D to basically point over there and do what the task group, the task group that I chaired did. So our illustrious chair, Mr. David Humphreys, basically asked DJ to chair this little task group. So he says, whoever wants to meet will meet over here. And it was over in the corner of the room. So the meeting got done yesterday. And DJ elected, he said, look, you know, because it was noisy in the room, because everybody, you know, you got guests in there and everybody's talking and, you know, moaning and groaning about some of the bad decisions that we made. They went outside. So DJ sent somebody in because they said, hey, Tom, we're meeting outside. So, you know, come on out there. I'm like, okay. I think a few other people want to engage. So we go outside in a little corner outside the room in the hallway. There was like I don't know if you've ever seen them in a hotel where they have like a little area that could be like a guest reception area, like if you have registration, like a registration desk type of thing. So there's that type of an area there. And there's like a thing. So DJ puts his computer up. I come walking out, and then I took an account of of everybody from Code Making Panel 2 that was there, principals and alternates. We had 21 people standing out in the hallway. Plus, there were some guests. I saw Ryan Jackson there. He was listening in. I saw Kyle Kruger there from NECA, he was listening in, and he was giving me a hard time. And there were a few people that were there that were not even part of panel. So in addition to the 21 people who were outside, we could have had another code panel meeting at the table inside. It was hilarious. But we argued, we debated, and we reviewed the language and all that jazz. And I think DJ did a great job. And we came up, I think, with something that both sides are absolutely going to hate. But I think it doesn't step on each other's toes, and it works out pretty good. So, and Nihad, you say you were up, compared to yesterday, you were up at 2:40 a.m. Oh, man. You spent the day today, you slept in today. Because you were at my court. Yeah, we held court last night. Oh, my God. Oh man, it was interesting, wasn't it, Nia? Other panel members walking by were wondering. I know everybody was wondering, like, what the heck is going on? What's going on over here in the corner? What are they talking about? And I didn't realize it was even a task group meeting because we were all hovered around the corner there. It was beautiful. But you know what? We came up with, I think, some half decent language that I hate and probably everybody else is going to hate. Everybody was sort of walking away kicking. And in my opinion, that's probably good code. So anyway, so we're going to finish up 210.8D today, and then 210.8F. 210.8F is where it's at. What did we do on 210.8F? We removed that effective. So we had a correlating committee note that said, look, you have this thing that says effective September 1st, 2026, GFCI or SP GFCI. Protection shall be provided for listed HVAC equipment. So they said that has to be in an exception. So we did. We deleted that sentence, but we said a listed Class C SP GFCI protection shall be permitted for listed HVAC equipment, and that will help in those areas for class to provide a solution for compatibility. And then we also put that if you put a Class C SP GFCI, then you have to mark the disconnecting means that warning Class C SP GFCI protection provided for HVAC unit. And that's that. And then we have an informational note talking about the UL 943C outline of investigation for special purpose GFCI. Further information. And if you have a HF or HF plus, and in that same marking, so that we had up above. So those are the changes up through to 10.8. That's sort of where we ended up on panel 2. Let's take a look and see. I know panel 4 is meeting. Let's take a look at. We had a task group on 705 to 11, so I got to go in and take a look and see what they. Let's take a look at what they did in 705 in general so far. Now remember, none of this some of it will make it through. Some of it may have a nitman associated with it and all that jazz. But at least this is where we're at from the table, and it's a simple majority. And some of it may not even get 2/3. Because remember, in the process, that's the other thing to remember. We're in a process. So we have, you have your class, you have your public comments. We sit down. We only need a simple majority at the table. So if I have 20 people, I need 11, right? So half of 20 is 10, add 1 is 11. So I need 11 votes to pass something or reject something. If it passes, and let's say I only got 11 votes, if I don't get 2/3 during the ballot, it doesn't pass. And then what do? We go back to first draft language. So that's the name of that tune. So it looks 705 made some minor changes in 705.1. Looks like 705.11. Okay, this is a debated item. Service connections. Electric power production source shall be permitted to be connected to a service by one of the following methods. To a new service in accordance with 230, blah, 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 to the supply side. That stuff is already covered. You don't even need that language. They left it in. They left GFPE in, and well, it looks like they haven't entered the information for that. So I'm curious to see what they do there. They made a bunch of changes in 705.12, and it looks like they say C word file attached. So it looks like they really did some work in 705.12. And not too much is entered in 705, so I don't know if panel 4 is getting through a lot of that material. Panel 10 is not meeting. Let's take a look at 110. Panel 1 is meeting. So let's see what panel 1's doing. Examination, they've got some changes. Just changing some dates for cybersecurity references. Installation and use. Equipment that is listed, labeled, or both, or identified for a use shall be installed and used in accordance with any instructions included in the listing, labeling, or identification. Such instructions shall result in an installation and use that complies with the requirements of this code. So they modified the instructions shall not reduce the requirements, and it says the instructions shall result in an installation and use that complies with the requirements of this code. So, this a good example. There are like if you have, let's say you're a manufacturer and you have a product that is not compatible with GFCI because of how you designed it. You are using the equipment grounding conductor for current return, violating Article 250 or whatever. You can't put in your instructions, you shall not put this on a GFCI if it's a requirement for where you locate that product. So that's a driver behind this, in my opinion. We'll see if that gets 2/3 at the table, at the ballot. And I don't see too many other accepted changes in panel from panel 1, so they haven't entered everything yet. So it's interesting to see all of the stuff that's going on. So I've got to run for a meeting. I at least wanted to give you all an update on what happened yesterday. I went live yesterday morning, and now I'm going live today. And I will be live today at 12 o'clock California time, at 3 o'clock Eastern on IAEI News Live. So that channel. So please, I know I have the link to that. I made it last night. I think I made it last night. I am live right now on my channel. I have to go to IAEI's channel. Oh, geez, oh man. Let me find it. I hate this, and I have to go. Subscriptions. You should be subscribed to IAEI's YouTube channel, and I should see it. See, I've got this. How do I move this? I'm going to move it over here. All right, so, oh, gosh darn it. It keeps this other stuff on top. And I know why it's doing that. All right, here we go. Switch account. I'm going to put a link to the 3 o'clock Eastern session. For IAEI News Live here in a second. Dashboard content live. Here we go. And there is get shortcut, get shareable link. And here we go. I'm going to put it in the chat. There it is. It is in the chat. So now you have the link for the IAEI News Live. We're going at 3 o'clock today, not 12 o'clock Eastern. So please tune in for that. Thank you all for joining in. I appreciate your engagement, and I hope you got something out of our session today. And we will see you. At 3 o'clock Eastern. All right, and I'll let you know. We'll talk a little bit about what happened today. I think Nihad is up on task group 2 for panel 2 at least. All right, everybody. Take care. See you a little bit later today. Don't forget, IAEI News Live. We'll see you there.